Okay, so get this. We got a request to deep dive into The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden.
Wow, really? The boyfriend?
Yeah, looks like it's got a lot of you guys talking.
Interesting.
Seems like we got the book itself, a bunch of reviews, even a blog post breaking it down.
Oh, and wait a minute, is that a Reddit thread too?
Yeah, you got it. A whole Reddit thread dedicated to it.
Wow, Freida McFadden really gets people going.
That's for sure. So for those of you wondering if The Boyfriend deserves a spot on your TBR, we're diving deep into the plot, characters, and what everyone's saying.
By the end, you'll know if it's a must-read or if you should just, run for the hills.
But first, what's the story even about?
Basically, The Boyfriend takes you into the dark side of modern dating. We follow Sydney Shaw. She's single, living in New York City, and she's been on one bad date after another.
I know that feeling.
Right. Just when she's about to give up on love, she meets Tom. Handsome, charming, a doctor. Seems like the whole package.
Okay, but I'm already sensing a but here.
You got it. As Sydney falls for Tom, a string of murders starts happening in the city.
Wait, hold on.
And the main suspect, a mysterious guy preying on women he meets online. Sound familiar?
Oh, no. So she's falling for, like, a possible serial killer.
Yeah.
Talk about bad timing.
That's what everyone's saying. Some readers totally get Sydney, like she's desperate for a connection, maybe overlooking some red flags.
Yeah.
But a lot of readers are like, come on, Sydney, get it together. Like, one blog post even calls her dumber than a bag of rocks.
Yeah, ouch. Harsh, but I mean, I kind of get it.
Right. If my dates were suddenly looking like something out of a true crime podcast, I'd peace out.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we've got Sydney, who maybe isn't the brightest, and Tom, who's giving off major red flags.
Yeah, and Tom's character is super interesting because McFadden uses this dual timeline.
Oh, I love a good dual timeline.
So I see him now, all charming with Sydney, but we also get glimpses of him as a teenager.
Okay, so what's teenage Tom like?
That's where things get wild. He's like completely fixated on his high school sweetheart, Daisy, their relationship. Toxic doesn't even cover it. Uh-oh. Yeah, we're talking possessiveness, jealousy, even hints of violence. There's this one part where he talks about wanting to, and I quote, squeeze the life out of her.
Whoa, that's scary.
Right. So we're seeing this obsession both then and now. It makes you think, is he just wired that way? Is there something more going on?
Yeah, I'm curious about the other people in his life, too. Like, what about his best friend, Slug?
Oh, Slug! McFadden doesn't hold back when describing him. Let's just say he's memorable.
Well, it's like he's not your typical best friend.
Definitely not. Makes you wonder if he's there just for shock value or if he actually plays a bigger role in shaping Tom.
All right, so we've got a maybe murderous boyfriend, a girlfriend who might be a little too trusting, and a best friend who sounds like he walked out of a nightmare. What about the twists? This blog post made it sound like a wild ride.
Oh, it totally is. McFadden loves to use red herrings, Leads you one way, makes you suspect certain people, then bam, pulls the rug out.
Love that. What kind of misdirection are we talking about here?
Well, at first, Sydney suspects a bunch of people. Her creepy ex-boyfriend. The detective working on the case, even her friend's boyfriend who's kind of shady.
Makes sense.
But then there are these little details like a black scrunchie that connects Tom to a victim.
Oh, wow, okay.
And you're left thinking, wait, what?
I love that in thrillers, those little things you dismiss, but then they come back to bite you. It's like you're a detective yourself.
Totally. And McFadden is amazing at planting those seeds of doubt. By the time the big reveal happens, you're either totally shocked or like, how did I miss that?
Color me intrigued. But what are other readers saying? Are they loving it? Hating it?
Oh, it's a mixed bag for sure.
Yeah.
The book has a ton of ratings on Goodreads, like over 300,000. And the average rating is pretty good, but the reviews themselves, all over the place.
Ugh.
Yeah, some people are calling it a total page turner, perfect for spooky season,
Yeah, I can see that. Sometimes you just want a book that's pure entertainment, something to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
No need to overthink it.
Exactly. And a lot of readers are praising McFadden for that. Like, she delivers on the fast-paced plot, the shocking twists, the whole suspenseful vibe. But then there are the others who are saying it's predictable, even formulaic.
So it's like a guilty pleasure read, the kind of book you wouldn't tell your book club about, but you devour in one sitting.
You got it. And it seems like even the people who call it popcorn reading can't put it down. They still want to know who the killer is, even if they think the writing or the characters are kind of lacking.
Yeah, speaking of the characters, a lot of the reviews seem to focus on Sydney and her, let's say, interesting choices.
Yeah, her naivete is a big talking point. Some readers think McFadden did that on purpose, to make her an unreliable narrator and up the suspense. They say it reflects how dating is now. Like, people get so caught up in the fantasy of it all that they miss the obvious red flags.
Huh. That's an interesting take. So it's not just about Sydney being, well, dumb, but more about the whole danger of romanticizing relationships.
Exactly. But of course, not everyone agrees. Plenty of readers find her decisions just unbelievable, even frustrating. Like they're yelling at her to wake up and see the danger she's in.
Yeah, I can see how that would be annoying. It's like watching a horror movie where the character keeps going into the creepy basement even though, something bad's going to happen.
Right, and that frustration extends to some of the other characters, too. Several reviewers mention how they lack depth, like they're either all good or all bad, not much in between.
Yeah, I guess that can happen in thrillers. Sometimes you just want those clear-cut heroes and villains.
True.
But
But I think that's where the criticism of McFadden's writing comes in. Some readers feel like she relies too much on tropes and formulas without bringing anything new to the table, like the charming boyfriend with a dark secret and the clueless girlfriend.
Those are pretty common tropes, maybe overused even.
But isn't there something comforting about the familiar? Sometimes you just want a story that hits all the expected beats and gives you exactly what you were hoping for.
For sure. And that's probably why those tropes are so popular. They tap into our fears and desires, and when done well, they can be really effective.
Right.
But the key is when done well. And that's where the debate is. Some readers feel like McFadden nailed it, others feel like she falls short.
Okay, so we've got readers who love the fast-paced plot and the twists, and others who find it predictable and over the top. What about the ending? Does McFadden stick the landing?
Ooh, that's where things get even more divided. The blogger we have calls the ending, and I quote, completely over the top, but enjoyable in a campy way.
Okay.
They seem to appreciate how bold it is, even if it's not super believable.
So it's one of those endings where you either roll your eyes or chuck the book across the room.
Pretty much. And a lot of readers seem to be in that chuck the book camp. They thought the final twist was too far-fetched, even nonsensical.
Wow.
Some even said it ruined the whole book for them.
Ouch, that's rough.
It is. It shows how hard it is to write a good ending for a thriller. You got to wrap things up in a way that's both surprising and believable, not an easy balance.
For sure. So far, we've got a book that people either love or hate. Super twisty plot, but maybe predictable. Characters that are a little over the top and an ending that's controversial. But there's one more thing we need to look at, that Reddit thread you mentioned.
Ah, yes. This is where things get interesting. Remember how the original poster was looking for books similar to The Boyfriend?
Yeah, what were they looking for? Well, here's the thing. They weren't focused on the serial killer part or even the dual timelines. What really interested them were stories where the boyfriend lies about who he is, his job, his money, his whole life to seem more successful.
Wow. Okay, that's a different angle. So they were drawn to the deception part, even though it wasn't the main focus of The Boyfriend.
Exactly. Makes you wonder if McFadden was hinting at that kind of deception in the book, even subtly. Maybe there were clues that some readers picked up on, even if it wasn't super obvious.
It's like a hidden layer of the story, just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, why did that theme resonate so much with that reader?
Right. And it connects to this bigger cultural fascination with hidden identities and the dangers of trusting appearances.
Yeah, think about all the true crime documentaries and podcasts out there. So many of them are about people who present a certain image to the world while hiding these dark secrets.
Exactly. It taps into our anxieties about being deceived, manipulated, or even hurt by people we thought we knew.
So what does all this mean for someone who's trying to decide whether to read The Boyfriend? Is it a must-read or a hard pass? So we've got this book that people seem to either love or hate. It's got a super twisty plot, but some think it's predictable, the characters maybe a little over the top, and that ending, well, let's just say it sparks some debate. But then there's this whole other layer about hidden identities that really grabbed at least one reader. So what's the final verdict?
I think it depends on what you're looking for in the thriller. If you're into those fast-paced plots, the shocking twists, and you don't mind characters making questionable choices, then The Boyfriend could be a fun read, a good escape.
Especially if you're feeling spooky this time of year.
Exactly. But if you're looking for something, more nuanced, with characters you can believe in and an ending that makes you think, this one might not be for you.
It's funny how this all ties back to that Reddit thread. It's like the poster was onto something, picking up on that deception theme that maybe even went deeper than what McFadden intended.
Right. Makes you wonder if there's this, bigger cultural anxiety we're all feeling. Are we so used to seeing these perfect online personas that we're just, like, suspicious of everyone now?
I mean, it's not just in books and movies, right? We see it everywhere.
Mm.
People catfishing, making up fake identities, these elaborate scams. It's like we're living in a thriller sometimes.
Exactly. And that's what makes this genre so interesting. It reflects our fears back at us, even if it's just in a fictional way.
So even though the boyfriend might not be winning any literary awards, it definitely touches on some universal themes. The need to connect, the fear of being betrayed, trying to figure out who we can actually trust.
For sure. And love it or hate it, the boyfriend definitely gets people talking. And that's got to count for something, right? McFadden knows how to tell a story that sticks with you.
Absolutely. So the next time you're looking for something new to read and you come across The Boyfriend, remember this deep dive? We covered it all, the good, the bad, the totally wild. Now it's up to you, ready to jump into this world of romance, lies, and maybe even a little murder.
And if you do give it a read, let us know what you think. We love hearing your reactions and what you guys take away from the books we discuss.
Until next time, happy reading.